Phuket murder hit suspect dies in Canadian plane crash days after being declared most wanted by police. From the moment the two hitmen stepped back onto Canadian soil last February after the murder of crime figure Jimmy Sandhu, their fortunes began to unravel. 36-year-old Matthew Dupre sits in custody in Alberta as he fights extradition to Thailand, while his alleged partner in the assassination of Mr Sandhu, Karl Lahrkamp, has been declared dead in a plane crash last Saturday while on the run as a fugitive. The hitmen found themselves pursued not only by police in Canada and Thailand but also by both rival gangs with links to Sandhu, who they mercilessly gunned down at his villa in Phuket on February 4 last. This followed a robust, lightning speed and highly successful police investigation which identified the pair to the world. One of the two murder suspects identified by Thai police over the murder of drug lord Jimmy Sandhu in Phuket on February 4 last died on Saturday in a plane crash near Sioux Lookout in Canada's Ontario province. The news came just 4 days after 36-year-old Karl Lahrkamp had been named the second most wanted man in Canada in an appeal to the public to track him down based on a warrant for his arrest issued in Phuket on February 11 last for murder. Police in Canada have confirmed that Karl Lahrkamp, Centre, wanted for murder in Thailand on foot of an arrest warrant issued by Phuket Provincial Court on February 11 last, died on Saturday, April 30 in a plane crash near Sioux Lookout, a town in northwestern Ontario. The private Cherokee plane was carrying 4 people who all died in the crash. It came only 4 days after Mr Lahrkamp had been listed as Canada's second most wanted fugitive in the country's Be on the Lookout (BOLO) program by officials in Toronto. The Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit, CFSEU, of British Columbia in Canada has announced that one of the two suspects wanted in Thailand by the court in Phuket for the murder of drug kingpin Jimmy Sandhu has died while on the run in a plane crash. The crash is understood to have happened in Sioux Lookout in Ontario on Saturday, April 30, just 4 days after 36-year-old Karl Lahrkamp was listed as fugitive number 2 on the country's most wanted list under what is known in Canada as the Be on the Lookout (BOLO) program, coordinated by officials in Toronto. Flew out of Thailand within days of the hit. Mr Lahrkamp is understood to have flown out of Thailand through Suvarnabhumi Airport just days after the brutal slaying of Mr Sandhu by 2 men on the night of Friday, February 4 at the drug lord's luxury villa near Awai Beach in the resort town. Phuket tourist murder on Friday night was an international gangland hit on a known drug player. Following an intense and highly praised police investigation which saw the arrest of co-conspirators and even the retrieval of the firearms used in the hit from the sea, warrants were issued for 2 Canadians including Mr Lahrkamp by Phuket Provincial Court on Friday, February 11, just 1 week later. Death penalty may be a problem as 2 hitmen in the Sandhu case are named by police seeking arrests of the pair. The men were charged with premeditated murder as well as other offences. Hit on Jimmy Sandhu believed to have been financed by drug gang in Canada with whom he had a feud. The second Canadian involved in the hit, believed to have been financed by a drugs gang in British Columbia with whom Mr Sandhu had developed a feud over the murder of one of their gang leaders at his hands, Matthew Dupre, was arrested by Canadian police in Alberta, Canada on February 20 last. He is currently being held in the custody of the court pending extradition proceedings launched by Thai authorities. It is understood that Mr Lahrkamp had gone to ground and was actively evading arrest through the use of his military training and underworld contacts, according to the Canadian Royal Mounted Police. Police, at one point, searched a mountainous area where the alleged hitman had run a dog breeding and training centre. He was last sighted in a small city called Trail in the West Kootenay region of British Columbia. Lahrkamp was last seen in Trail, British Columbia. Police thought he had been travelling with dogs. Police officers, who briefed the media only last week on the 36-year-old, at that time stated that he may have been travelling in the company of several dogs. Police in Canada have declined to speculate on what caused the plane crash last Saturday. The crash involved a light Cherokee passenger plane which, according to Canada's CBS News, was on its way from Dryden, the second-largest city in the northwest of the Canadian province of Ontario, to the smaller town of Marathon in the quieter Thunder Bay district of the province. They would only confirm that 4 people died in the crash, including Karl Lahrkamp and 3 others. 2 of whom were named while a fourth's identity was withheld as the family had not yet been informed. The 2 other individuals were 26-year-old Abhinav Handa from Richmond in British Columbia and Duncan Bailey from Kamloops City in the same province. Canadian police investigating the killing of Sandhu in Canada to see if there was conspiracy to murder. Police in Canada, through the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Unit, CFSEU, in British Columbia, had begun investigating the murder of Jimmy Sandhu there to establish whether any crime had been committed in the country or a conspiracy formulated on Canadian soil to murder 32-year-old Jimmy Sandhu, who was deported from Canada in 2016 to India for his links to the UN drugs gang and serious criminality in the country he and his family had emigrated to when he was only 7 years old. Investigators are understood to have already interviewed Mr Dupre in connection with the plot. Inspector Joel Hussey of the unit, in the aftermath of Dupre's arrest, said that the force was looking to determine what offences, if any, took place in Canada but could not elaborate on what Mr Dupre had said or not. Hitmen shocked and terrified at news from Thailand. It has been reported that both Mr Lahrkamp and Mr Dupre, from the moment of their arrival back in Canada in February, feared retribution from the criminal gang who are believed to have hired them to carry out the hit after the identities of the 2 men were revealed so quickly following the assassination due to the tenacity of the Royal Thai Police. They were also threatened by Mr Sandhu's criminal network in British Columbia, with whom he stayed in contact and worked with while travelling throughout Southeast Asia after he was forced to flee India in 2018 on the run from authorities there on the trail of his illicit drug production and distribution operations. Canadian hitmen suicidal as cops open murder conspiracy case after Thai police tour de force. Both men are former members of the Canadian Armed Forces. It is also reported that Canadian police had been hunting down Mr Lahrkamp as a fugitive on the basis of the Interpol Red Notice and the warrant for his arrest on suspicion of murder in Phuket on February 4 last, as there were no outstanding warrants in Canada in relation to him.